Okay, start. Let me change something here. Let me reduce background music slightly. Actually, let me a bit more. Okay, start. Why is it playing the opening again? Wait. Wait, this opening is different than the other one. I probably should be looking at this because it's probably spoilers for me. Also, let me shrink my face cam. Is this different than the one before? I think it is, but not. It's definitely different. Again, why am I looking at this? It's definitely spoilers. Yeah, so it's too late. Fuck it. It was definitely different than the one at the very beginning of the game, though. Faux show. Yeah, okay. Thus said the druid. Today, the youth who holds the lance in his hands shall have all the glory and praise he desires. Until the day comes when this land and this era itself disappear into the ocean, not a single human, not a single bird nor flower will ever forget him. His name shall be known in 5 lands. There will not be a single woman who does not love him, and there will not be a single man who is not proud of him. Okay. His swift lance shall be the honor of the Red Branch. I'm assuming we're talking about Lancer, maybe. That the cattle thieves shake at the sound of the chariot horses neighing. Yeah, okay. Our dearest son of light. His hands will grasp nothing but glory. When the time comes for his life to end, his knees will not fall to the ground. But know this, child of the hazel tree. Like the flicker of a star, that glory shall soon burn itself out. Together with your feats of arms that know no rival, faster than anyone, you will sink into the oblivion beyond the horizon. Spring, 6 years ago. I became acquainted with a strange man. 2 years had passed since I had been recruited into the Mages Association. Ignored and never asked to do anything, I was given a place to be in form only. Like a useless antique. Ancient and well known, handled with great care, yet no one intends to use it. Tucked away deep within the storehouse, I spent my days only to be sooner or later forgotten. Of course, there was no meaning in that existence. I had left my hometown out of fear of simply rotting away. Though young and ignorant, I left because of a vague desire to do what I could. I had no value outside of being an antique. To gain some value was simple. I tried to show them how useful I was, what I could do, the things I could do. I took up the one role that many magi hated, the bloody cleanup assignment. Practical magic that works in a real fight. That was a subject I took pride in. Now and in the past, I had a talent unsurpassed by those around me. And so, after handling countless fights, the association had finally recognized my value and granted me a position. The ruling elite, lords of the association, as if to rid themselves of a nuisance, had proclaimed thus: the inexperienced newcomer, Bazett Fraga McRemitz, as a special exception, shall be appointed as a sealing designation enforcer. Sealing designation. It is with a title given to the Magi with special talent, and an edict sent down by the Association. Some magic cannot be learned by study. The owners of magic that only exists in their blood or genetic makeup and cannot be passed down are treated as treasures by the Association, which makes an all-out order to shelter them. Hospitable as it sounds, the order amounts to imprisonment. The Magi that receive the sealing designation are treated as precious samples to be passed on for generations to come. The Association captures them, and then ensures their talent is preserved in its current state. Simply put, they aren't too different from specimens immersed in formaldehyde. That's terrible. What looks like a well-intentioned order in the Association's eyes is equivalent to a death sentence for those receiving it. Most Magi reject the edict and flee. The death sentence itself isn't the reason, however. The people receiving the sealing designation are all outstanding Magi in the most basic sense. They prioritize their pursuit of magic above all else. Their own mortality holds no meaning for them. For one who is devoting day after day to their research, a sealing designation is unthinkable. Once pickled in formaldehyde, their study of magic will end then and there, or there and then. For that reason, they leave the Association and go on the run. There's no need to ask what for. To slip back into society, and to bury themselves into their research, deeply, fully, and to their heart's content. Those that have received the sealing designation and go on the run generally belong to one of two groups. The first become hermits, cutting off all contact, hiding their magic and only teaching it to blood relatives. Those are the fallen Magi. While they have to be found and sheltered before their abilities are completely lost, or lost completely, the danger they pose is near zero. Unless their talents are just too great, the Association will not pursue them either. The second category are the shut-ins, that retreat to their own land, wizards wholly devoted to mastering their craft. These are unsurpassed Magi, aiming for ever greater heights. It would take but a few years to take their abilities to another level, surely bringing the Association great rewards for their efforts. However, none of the ordinary morals and justice exists for them. Having shed their restraints, their first and foremost goal is the discovery of the unknown. Sacrifice of unrelated bystanders is but one way towards it. It's a problem. Yeah, but however much of a problem it may be, as long as they manage it well, even the Association overlooks it. They are left alone until achievements are made. The pursuit of magic is the Mages Association's own principle, after all. But should they prove to be unsuccessful, should they violate the Association's greatest postulate, secrets must be concealed, the response will be swift. And preventing occult knowledge from being disseminated isn't the only reason. When it comes to protecting such valuable assets, they'll be content with preserving just the bodies alone. Should news of the matter spread, power will appear to bring punishment to the wizard in the name of justice. At present, the greatest enemies are the Inquisitors of the Holy Church. They act to incinerate not only the wizards themselves, but also the knowledge they've built up along with them. While their desire to stop the violence is the same, their final objective is the direct opposite. Despite a non-aggression pact between the Mages Association and the Holy Church, scuffles minor enough to be left off the record continue. No, rather, it is on the assumption that they will be left off record that the killings continue even now. Yeah. As a result, my job became not only to deal with mad wizards, but also to fight the executors. About 1 year had passed since it became my daily life. While on a mission to enforce a sealing designation, I became acquainted with one such man. An executor of the Holy Church, let me guess, Kirei? A priest, convicting all kinds of sinners in God's name.
手を組まないか、お嬢さん。
Yeah, Kirei.
お互い最後の一人だ。ここで潰し合うのは得策ではない。
And as naturally as that, the priest requested cooperation. He had lost all the comrades he brought along, and my team was nearly annihilated as well. The two of us were the only survivors left. We were standing in the garden of a magus that was using corpses in an attempt to revive the soul. Normally, no matter how desperate the predicament may be, cooperation between the executors and the Mages Association is unthinkable, short of an edict from the Pope himself. The executors are followers of the purest form of faith, preserve their own beliefs that would never associate with heretics like us. This one priest, however, was unique. Perhaps he was sympathetic towards Magi in general. Not a hint of disdain on his face. He approached me like one of his own, with a warm smile.
協力し合うことに異論はありません。ですが、私たちは仲間ではない。結局、最後には奪い合うことになる。そんな相手に背中は任せられない。
Yeah, definitely not. I had an obligation to recover the magus named in the sealing designation order. And the priest had no choice but to end the magus' life. Our cooperation would come to an end, and the priest would become my enemy.
それはいらぬ心配だな。私の仕事はあの男を殺すことだけだ。後のことはそちらに任せる。亡骸をどう扱おうと、私には関係のない話だ。
It's very unpriestly. Those are his words. He would leave the flesh to me. As long as he was the one to dispose of the soul, that was enough for him.
いいでしょう。その言葉を信用します。
Just how much weight was placed behind those words? I had believed the priest, with an ease that surprised even my own self. This man was dangerous. My own experience was telling me of the less than saintly venom he possessed, yet I still took his hand despite myself. Thinking back, indeed, this priest was no saint. But among all the people I had met up until that point, he was the only one possessing a power I could respect.
私はバゼット。魔術協会から派遣された魔術師です。あなたは？
We proceeded to exchange names in order to secure this temporary trust. 2 days had passed. The magus that amused himself playing with corpses now dealt with. We had returned to our respective employers. To be honest, I did have a feeling we'd meet again. I was chasing after Magi that received the sealing designation. The priest, as an executor, was hunting down heretics. With his magic-related knowledge, he was likely deployed on mage hunting missions rather than a dead apostle or demon possession ones. The two of us were a great match as competitors. The first time was just a coincidence. The second and third, on the other hand, were probably both unconsciously desired and inevitable. The times that we had met, without fail, were also the times that we were both alone. Although I decided to act independently from then on to begin with, so he was the only one to lose his comrades. We had fought side by side 3 times, trusting each other. Neither of us reporting it back. All of those remained secret. I had judged him worthy of my trust and took his hand. That trivial secret had just a little charm to it.
そうしてその少年は自分から成人の儀を迎えたのです。一人のドルイドがその日に戦士になる者の未来を占った。為替に映った未来は不吉なもので、今日戦士になる者は最大の栄光を得る代わりに誰よりも早く命をなくすというものだった。
Is she telling the story of Lancer? Or Kuchulain?
集まった少年たちは皆恐れて動かなかったのに、占いに無関心だった少年だけは迷うことなく王のもとに駆け込んで、今すぐ自分を戦士として認めてくれというのです。
Yeah.
王は散々少年を止めるのですが、少年は聞かず、ついに戦士として認められました。
I mean, to be fair, like, what did he say he was? He was like 10 or something? Gotta, pretty ballsy to be like, oh wow, well, all the boys who become warriors are gonna die? Well, fuck it then, I'll do it. Like,
その後の話は神話の通りです。アルスターの猛犬の英雄譚はご存知でしょう。
It was the night of our 3rd joint battle. Unable to bear the silence of the night, talked to something entirely unrelated to my job. Somehow, I ended up reciting an old tale of my hometown.
いや、そちらの話には疎くてね。聞き覚えがあるのは名前までだ。寝物語に語ってもらう分には構わんが、さて本題は別のところにあると見た。
Do I feel like he's lying? Maybe not, I don't know.
そうだな。おそらく君はその少年の行動に苛立ちを覚えてしまった。こうして成長した今でも彼の決定を怖がっているのだろう。
The priest looked at me with a melancholic smile. There was nothing I could hide from this man. Mercilessly, he saw right through my heart. By all rights, I had to have feared this priest, and yet, having my feelings laid open by him had put me at ease instead.
恐れているわけではありませんが、少年がどこに着目していたのかはわからない。その日に戦士になれば最高の栄誉を約束されるが、誰よりも早く命を落とすとも予言された。なのに少年は恐れず、何の戸惑いもなく王に今すぐ武者立ちがしたいと告げるのです。
Maybe he wanted to defy that fate. Who knows?
王に理由を問われても一切答えず、とにかく戦士になりたいの一点張り。そうして成人の儀を進めていくのですが、少年には占いに対する希望も不安も全くないのです。占いなどどうでもよく、戦士になる喜びだけで満ちていて、戦士になろうとした理由がいつの間にか消えているようだった。正直、私には彼が何を見ていたのかわからない。
He was crazy. Well, he still is crazy. Well, whatever. Did he think eternal glory was a good enough compensation in face of that dreadful fate? I mean, maybe. Or was he so captivated by the promise of glory that he paid no heed to being fated to die young? Or perhaps...
栄光か短命か、 どちらに重きを置いたのかを知りたいと。さて、聞いた限りではそのどちらでもないように思えたが。
How so?
どちらでもない。少年は予言を聞いて戦士になろうと決意したのに。
決意をしたのではないよ。予言を聞き、その内容を吟味することなく少年は走り出したのだろう。
Yeah, I suppose he did.
なら少年は最初からその予言を知っていたのだ。きっと自分はそういう風に生きると、そんな確信が生まれた時からあったからこそドルイドの予言に従ったのではないかな。
Okay. He believed this is the day he was born. The boy had accepted it as his own duty, never dreading or doubting that drew his words. That's right. That was the part I had feared, that made me grieve. It was not a noble act of choosing glory while knowing the death it will bring. It was the hero that would not even attempt to change such an unnatural fate that I feared.
参りました。私は何度もあの昔話を読んだのに、
Or did
そ
it?
んなことさえ思わなかった。昔話の少年とあなたはどこか似ているのかもしれませんね。
I guess in a way, yeah.
失敬な。私はそこまで考えなしではない。
Couldn't believe my eyes. The priest muttered with a frown, as if I'd hurt his feelings. I believe that was the first time I'd seen him display human-like emotion.
なんだ、異論があるとでも。
いえ、今のは失言でした。私が言いたいのは生き方の話です。少年に確信があったように、あなたも人生に確信を持っている人ですから。
ほう、確信とはどんな？
Well, you're a priest, so...
誰も必要としていないところ。あなたには最後まで自分だけで生きていく覚悟がある。本当は私の手を借りなくてもいいのです。ただ効率がいいから付き合っているだけでしょうに。
Yeah, from what I know of Kira, he probably didn't need your help, to be honest. Or maybe not. Once again, a melancholic smile appeared on the priest's face. That affirmation brought a tinge of pain to me, however little. Yeah. It was only our third mission. Barely 10 days had passed. Yet I had already felt painfully aware of the kind of person that he was. Not a good one. This man would absolutely not associate with a human being. He needed no one. He hated no one. As strong as a human could possibly be, he was an alien that one's common sense would be telling you to stay away from. But it's also precisely why he had no hidden face. Evil described him perfectly in one word. Even now, I still do not know how I got charmed by such a dangerous man. This is what I thought, however. Should I, by some chance, make this man who needs no one somehow attached to me, it would bring me a peace of mind far superior to anything material.
どうした？考え事か？まったく悩み事が多い女だ。話が済んだのなら眠っておけ。1時間半で交代しよう。
Thus said the priest, throwing more wood into the fire. All of a sudden,
あいにく凡人なもので、私はあなたのように自信を持って生きられない。つまらない疑問だらけだ。時に生きていることさえ苦しく思える。
Well, that's kind of depressing. I let slip a much older, much deeper truth within me. Another piece of wood went into the fire. I'd made a mistake. I was sure he was disappointed now. My ability to handle a machine-like role was the only reason he ever called out to me. Someone like me who whined about my troubles to total strangers was unnecessary to him. Heavy silence fell between us. I was too afraid to look at him. And then, as if nothing at all had happened.
生きているのが苦しいのではない。君は呼吸をするのが厳しいのだ。
This was told to me in an emotionless yet sincere voice.
その厳しさは容易には取り除けない。自分がわからないのなら、世界を知って測る以外に方法はないからだ。バゼット・フラガ・マクレミッツ。自身がこの世界に不要だと思うのならば、お前はお前を許すために多くの世界を巡らねばならない。
Across the oceans, fly the skies. Throw away your tiny self, your tiny country, and go around the globe with a single suitcase, is what he was saying. Like the age of discovery. Like a seaman that believes in a yet unknown paradise beyond the sea.
あなたは渡った？
My reply came naturally. Because I had a belief, as he would say. I believed that there must have been a time when, just the same as me, found it hard to breathe.
いや、まだ途中だ。若い頃に躍起になったが、何年か前に大きな事件があってね。それ以来己を許す必要はなくなった。
The fourth Grail Lore? Because I think Shiro's was fifth, right? So he was, yeah. A major incident? It did not seem to be related to hunting magi. This priest had experienced a great war that was unknown to me.
それで、あなたは何を許そうとしたの？
生まれつきの悪癖だよ。私はどうも物事を愛することができなくてね。人並みの道徳が欠如している。その間違いを容認できなかった。
The priest wasn't speaking about the past. This man remained unable to love even to that day.
それは解決しなくてよかったのですか？
ああ、人並みに愛情は持てずとも物事を美しいと感じることはできる。その基準は君たちとは違うが、愛情というものがあることに変わりはない。我ながら間の抜けた話だ。そんなことにさえ若い私は気づかなかった。
Yeah, but you find beauty in like chaos and destruction, so it's kind of, you know, There was no hesitation in the priest's voice. He may have lamented the past, but he considered it done and over with.
では、今はもう迷いはないと。
そうだな。今は己を許すのではなく、私という人間を容認したわけを知りたい。私にもし自分の人生があるのなら、残るすべての時間を 答えを得るために使おうと思っている。
Yeah, but that ends very poorly, doesn't it?
けどあなたの疑問に答えられる人はいないのでしょう。
そうだな。まだ答えを出せる者は生まれていない。いつかその機会が訪れるといいのだが。
His expression was warm and gentle. The priest was gazing at the bright flames, like a father admiring his own child.
意外ですね。あなたにもまだ悩みがあったとは。私も少し自信がつきました。
Touched by the warmth of his smile, I couldn't help but smile myself.
それは結構。人生の先輩として役に立ったのなら幸いだ。
See, it's so weird, right? Because, like, for a while I thought I hated Kirei, but, like, knowing his condition, so to speak, it's hard to hate him. Honestly. Like, he's not a good guy, I don't like him, but it's hard to actually, like, full-on hate him. He closed his eyes with satisfaction. That was it for pointless talk. Returning to our respective roles, we prepared for tomorrow's battle.
では先に眠ります。時間になったら起こしてください。
承知している。敵地だからな。あまり夢を見ないことだ。
I closed my eyes. Perhaps due to fatigue, my sleep was unexpectedly deep. I dreamed of my hometown. I dream of getting aboard a ship in a grayed out abandoned port and leaving for a foreign land. That was my last conversation with the priest. From then on, we stopped running into each other. But there'll be another chance. Yeah, we match each other well as competitors. For as long as he remains alive, I continue my sealing designations job. One day, surely our conversation will continue. Well, yeah, and I don't know about that.